You don't need a...
Okay. Alright, thanks for coming into my second class for drawing. This week you're going to be drawing your same character again, except that you're going to be drawing them in an action pose. So the way we do that is with something called the line of action. So the line of action is basically the main thrust of the pose. So for this girl here, she's basically kind of doing like a flying sidekick sort of thing. So the main line of action, this red one, is her force like traveling forward. And so her limbs here, her arms across here and her leg down underneath is just secondary action. It's just following the main curve. So quite a lot of the time it can be like the torso is what drives the line of action, but not always. So if you look at this case, for example, I would say the main line of action is actually the legs, because he's like crouched down, he's going to like spring off and do something cool. So the legs would be the main line of action, and then the arms and the upper body would be secondary movement. So when you're doing line of action, and for today's class, I want you to see if you can stick to mostly curved lines, because curved lines tend to show movement a lot better. Straight lines just tend to be very stationary. I want you to see if you can exaggerate the movement. So it doesn't have to be like realistic. You don't have to think about whether or not it could like be possible for someone to do things that way. Just like push it as far as you can. So we're going to do a fun exercise. After I've done the demo, you're going to pose as the character that you came up with last week. So I want you to, for the next bit, get up off your chair. Not just yet, I'm just going to do a demo first. But you'll have to get off your chair, and then just like, I want you to think as that character, and I want you to feel out what kind of pose you think would be suitable for your character. Yes?
Do you have any cardboard boxes?
I've got an image for you. I thought of that, actually.
Thank you.
It's a good question. Yeah, so here's some examples of like lines of action.
I think I know some. Starfire, Spider-Man, I think that's Hulk, and also...
Yeah, that's the Hulk.
Oh my lord.
You got no shots on.
Yeah. Sorry.
Also,
I
think that's one from Dragon Warrior. That's the one in the top corner is from Spider-Man again.
Yep, that's it.
Thank goodness for you. I didn't know
thanks,
that.
Yeah.
Thank goodness you're born.
So this statement at the bottom is the most important. So think about like superheroes, because superheroes tend to sort of stick to this, and think about generally superheroes have like a pose that they sort of fall into, that they're recognized for. So for example, I'll do a couple of... That's it.
Spider-Man with his crouch.
Yeah, he's crouched.
Or just that.
What about Spider-Man like off his web? Like like when he has the web like that, and then he goes like...
Yeah, like
that's one of the ways.
he has a type of body language. So generally, he's very flexible. So you generally, when you're drawing Spider-Man, you'll have him like hanging from something. You'll be stretched out. It'll be like an impossible kind of contortionist sort of pose. Whereas say for like the Hulk, he's like a rhino. Like he's like just size and force sort of thing. So he can jump high, but generally it's just like a huge kind of force like that just kind of smashes
He doesn't
things.
like really move, he just sticks in one position.
Really?
Not really, but
Sometimes he actually does this. He goes like that, and then he goes.
like he does like the same things.
Yeah, well so does Spider-Man.
Like, yeah. They'll have that one special move.
Yeah,
If they
Oh,
only
it's
use
just-
special
it's apparent.
heavy.
Yeah.
Also,
It's
it's
not-
like
in every episode.
So it's not just like one pose, but it's generally like a range of actions that sort of fall within like what they do and what they're kind of known for. So I'm gonna use Wolverine for example. So generally Wolverine's poses tend to accentuate like his claws.
What's
His
this?
claws. Yeah, his claws tend to fill up that sort of arc. So like for example, I'm going to draw him sort of like crouched over kind of thing. He's like hunched forward.
Flexing.
He's very animalistic. So he's got his arms coming around here.
Can you make those pencil lines a little bit darker?
Yeah, sure. I'll just get a dark pencil.
I cannot see it.
Must be 8
X-Men.
So we got the big long line of his arms and his hands, and then the smaller one of his little legs.
I can't see his hands.
So I'm going to draw his hands in. I'm going to draw, so he's sort of hunched forward. We're sticking still to basic shapes. You don't have to make it three-dimensional or anything, just we're concentrating on line of action. So I've got his hands down here. And then his claws. So then you can build in a little bit of anatomy kind of thing.
Oh man, that's really good.
Oh, when you actually look at it that way, you
On his
see
ear
it.
too.
Yeah, and then it's got very
That's
sort of
what
pointy
you
hair.
look at his hair.
Looks like
I was just thinking of
Looks like a very buff guy with animal.
Oh, that
Yes.
you know, Mom just gave me an
No, I'll
idea.
wait for my
Because the
hair.
one time I actually went to this place where they sell stuff, I saw
So,
the
okay,
fake,
guys.
like
So, do you see how I've put some more detail on, but I'm keeping this long line in and this long line in. I'm just like adding in a little bit of detail in here and there. I don't want to break or upset this. I don't want any kind of detail or anything to make it, to sort of diminish these long curves. So yeah, so giving you an example, I want you guys to make a start on your characters. I want you to think of your character's signature pose. It can be a static pose of they're just standing there. It can involve movement or them jumping into action. It's up to you. Whatever you think your character would do.
What is the character?
We have those ones that we did last week as well.
Yeah, they're up here.
Wait, I didn't use my one I did last week.
So
oh, so the
You did one right. You did one right already.
yeah, actually, before you start,
Wait, can
I
I
should make my snake do that.
so I've actually picked these for a reason. So I was thinking, Michelle, for your character, for like a biggie character, those are some ideas. Mikey, box with
Yeah, I
arms.
see what you're saying.
Yeah. So he's a box, but you can make the arms really dynamic and do amazing things. Jump,
Ooh.
a snake.
It's actually a dragon. It looks like a dragon.
It is a dragon.
It looks like
It's a dragon.
It actually looks like a
It's the
dragon
same sort of
with
thing.
a basketball and it's about to bounce like in a basketball around.
Oh, that's his golden orb.
That's his Dragon Ball.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean Dragon Ball? Are you?
Yeah, it's Dragon Ball. Dragon Ball Z.
Oh, this is actually on Skyrim. There's a game I play in
Okay.
the
Alright.
version
Yeah.
of Dragon
So I've got a couple of options. There's these two options as well. So
Oh, exactly.
For you, Chloe.
He's
Yeah.
smiling.
Chloe,
She even goes, I'm gonna do stuff.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that stuff.
I watched Teen Titans on my iPad.
yeah.
Everybody needs to know that.
I'm thinking mine should be kind of Spider-Man because mine was kind of morphed.
Okay. Yeah, cool.
Because
So,
like,
I have
it was
no
not
idea what to do for my one because
probably holding fire
Yeah.
or something.
they're like evil but not evil.
yeah, but think of the overall shape of your character. Like,
I was first thinking of doing something like what you did, like where you're just standing and going like this, but
yeah.
you already did that.
Well, just think about, okay, you've got this character, it doesn't matter who it is, they're walking through this environment and then they meet your character. What would be their first encounter of your character?
Oh yeah, that's a good connection.
They look at him and just run.
And just run? What sort of pose would he be in? It was a he, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. What sort of pose? So why would they run?
I don't know, maybe because of wings.
The wings? Yeah?
I'm
How-
thinking like the wings were
How big is he?
Oh, you know, at home I
He is a tall person. He's not short.
Yeah. But just think about that reaction. If the character that comes in and encounters your character, think of what their reaction would be and why. And that will tell you what sort of pose they should be in.
Well, somewhat of a pose.
So it doesn't matter if you don't know at the moment, just try a few things. I find like by trying a whole bunch of different poses, you can think it through.
Think
Yeah.
of your favorite poses and then just draw your character in it.
Yeah, start like that.
Can you go back to the bottom of the line actually?
Yeah, sure.
You don't even know what it is.
Yeah. Oh, even the other one before that.
You know what she looks like. She was
Yeah,
my
that's
baby.
the one.
No, I don't know what she looks.
You said you watched this, so then you'll know.
Yeah, I don't remember.
You
I
want
don't
to go
watch
for the
it
next
anymore.
Yeah, but you should offer this one.
Well, I failed. This is why I go small. Can I just draw
Take some more off here.
tiny again?
Draw. Sorry.
My tiny little thing in the corner.
I prefer you to draw a little bit bigger.
Because I can't draw big characters.
If you don't try, you're not going to improve on doing so.
Just set it as a challenge for yourself. Just it doesn't have to be a huge amount bigger.
Said it, Mikey.
Cheers.
Being able to draw at different
Yeah.
sizes is really helpful.
Cheers. Cheers. Can I some of you as well?
You know, never mind.
Give it a go. Oh, you can do it. So, who's your character?
My character was
What did you draw?
No, the one you just drew.
Oh.
That's the one you want to do, isn't it?
yeah.
Did you write, well, what,
Oh.
if you had to name like 4 or 5 characteristics, don't write them down yet. Just, who is this character? Just in dot points.
Do I write down?
No, just tell me.
The cartoon Avengers actually looks to people that sometimes say things that she doesn't really like. She uses sarcasm and she's a bit shy when it comes to people and
Yeah, okay. So, yeah, that's good. I can see that with the hair, like, sort of over her eye. It's kind of, she's a little bit shy. So you didn't get around to drawing in the hands and feet? Yeah?
Too
Alright.
lazy.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Hands and feet are
Does it have to be like a superhero pose thing?
No, it can be any pose. I just use superheroes as an example because they definitely do have like a specific pose that they generally fall back to. But anime does the same thing. So, and that's a very anime sort of character.
Well, she
So-
teased me it, so I guess it's kind of
What?
Yeah?
No, it's because like I have where you do just like a couple of circles, then you outline the circle. But like you outline the shape in the way you want the body to like be formed.
Yeah. I
Does
mean,
that
like,
make sense?
it does. So you mean cut, like, okay, we've got this character here,
And you can see the outline I just did.
and then maybe, oh wait,
She's supposed to be like that.
I'm going to draw Wolverine again just because
Okay.
and he's doing, he's, I don't know, running. So you mean like, a ball for the
Rubber.
Part for it.
for
And then,
the
like,
shoulder and elbow,
yeah,
and
and
then
you
you
make it your shape.
So like this sort of thing.
Yeah.
So you know that that's where the limb is bending.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can draw it like that if you want. As long as you keep in those long lines. Yeah, you can draw it however you want. I just want to make sure you get the line of action in.
What are you doing?
So Amelia, do you have any poses that you had in mind?
I was thinking of that one my characters do.
I'm not too sure about it.
Okay.
Like that pose when they do that thing when they're just like resting on top of the wall.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. You've drawn one of those before, but like that one was.
So,
Yes.
there's something that I'm a bit confused on how to do. Like, since I've drawn my character like this in a kind of 3D shape, I'm having trouble trying to get. Because I've drawn like a mock pose, so I kind of just want the box to be standing up like that.
Yep.
With its legs out, kind of squatting, and then the arms up. But I don't know how to. And it's standing up, right? So his face is kind of like looking up, right?
Yeah.
I don't know how to get his arms to look like they're at the same place on either side.
Yeah. I see what you mean. Yeah. Just make a start. Just draw.
The only thing I have done very small.
So the arms in the same place. What I do is drawing a line across here,
Yeah.
and then I have that arm comes out there. That arm comes out there. Is that what you meant?
Yeah. Well, yeah. Yes. But on the other side. Well, oh yeah, the other kind of moving it up.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
I'm changing my character.
That's the kind of thing.
Yeah. So like, think of what the arms can do. Like,
Yeah.
make the character look like.
I was more thinking of like making him prop up upright, so that on the top of the like model, that's his face kind of thing. But I like this idea better. So his kind of legs and arms extend out, and then it's just a floating box. That'd be pretty good.
See, like, I like the way that he moves. He uses his tentacles to move along, like
Yeah.
a quadrupedal sort of animal or whatever. But and then sometimes he'll use just the back tentacles to stand on, and then use the front tentacles as hands. So there's like heaps you can do with that. Hey?
Yeah, for sure. Alright, I'm gonna change up this model now.
I cannot do this.
Oh, no, that's fine.
Never ever say you can't do it. It looks like a masterpiece.
I will only say it when I cannot do this.
What did you do?
And you
Sure.
just make it like
Don't you dare. When you're playing knees, you get knees again.
You gotta draw something first.
then it will be a masterpiece.
That was a hard one.
Permission to high five right in front of my face.
That's good.
Sorry, it's my fault. So
I don't know how to draw real bodies.
you don't have
You want me
to.
to help you?
What about the wings?
Oh yeah.
What kind of shapes could the wings make? Just forget about the body for a second.
Oh, so I don't need to draw.
I'm obviously not done.
I'll just give you in a second.
I'm just getting what I want the shape to turn out like.
What sort of wings? They're going to be really sharp. Really sharp.
It's done.
That ain't mine. That ain't no.
No, so it's
So
not
just before you keep drawing, before you go into all of that detail, just think about like the broad overall sort of shape that you want to have for the whole character. So what, I'll get you to do a thumbnail, a few thumbnails first. This will really help. So I'm thinking, okay, character with wings. What sort of wings? So I'm just going to say it's the body, head, and then what about if he's got like big sort of angel wings that like fill up the whole like frame, and they're like way bigger than him.
I don't know how to draw angel wings.
Oh, just
I have
shapes.
an idea. Okay.
Just shapes.
I have an idea.
And just think of animals and what sort of wings they have. You got an idea? Alright, I'll let you go with it.
It's similar to what you did.
I don't know how I will be able to draw that leaning pose. Like leaning on a wall. I'm not sure how I'll be able to do that.
Leaning on a wall?
Yeah.
Okay. So, how is she leaning? Is she leaning like standing up?
No.
Like standing up and she's kind of like, so that's, she's leaning on this and she's kind of like leaning like that?
No, she like has her back on it and her arms crossed.
Okay, so there's a wall over here.
No, I don't want to do it.
Yeah, come on, come on.
Let's do this.
Oh my god, no. So kind of like
So,
this.
yeah. What's she gonna do with her arms?
She just crosses them.
Crosses them? Okay.
Because,
So, just think about your character. There's lots of different ways you can have a character like leaning against the wall. It seems like a very boring kind of pose, but just think about like, okay, the character standing like this is very different from someone standing like, say like this. Do you get what I mean? So just think about the kind of statement the character wants to make. Just play around with just like, maybe like this, or like maybe they're kind of like staring up at the roof like, oh my god, waiting for someone, or, you know, just think about different ways. Yeah, yeah. See what I mean?
You only have one character, and I really want to do that character, but I don't want to just change the character, like just do that character.
Yeah. And what I want you to do is just concentrate on this. So just think about how your character would lean against the wall. Do they have? So just think about, is it relaxed and just like, or is it bored and they're just kind of like?
Also, I kind of like what about like a bit frustrated.
Frustrated, so maybe like kind of like arms together and just like.
I'm not really like frustrated, but kind of like watches all people on in case some
So just think about that kind of pose and think about what sort of standing and leaning pose says that sort of. Okay. Yeah.
The one thing I wanted to
It's chalk, mate. Yeah, usually use it on coloured paper, toned paper. Yeah?
I teach her how to understand. This is what like her growth are. I teach her this.
Nice work.
Because I don't want to be you getting all the fame for that art without me getting any credit for you for teaching me that.
Okay. How you doing, Gian?
Do we have any?
Add all the details in there, won't you?
Mikey,
Yep.
Yep.
can you pass me
Wow.
the
And you've got him fighting someone.
No.
Wow. That's cool. So you've got the line of action and the victim. He's kind of been pushed back or something after he's been bitten.
Also, I've changed his spikes.
I am making bigger.
Yeah.
It looks almost like, you know, when they do that, what are they called, the break dancers, and they do that thing forward like
Oh,
that.
the worm.
That's what it looks like.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
The movement.
Man, that'd be creepy ass.
Mm.
And imagine just like a giant thing just like going.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. So how do you think he would move?
So probably like he would go like, so first he would be like lifting that some boys come on, he curls up in the little thing, and then his wrist would be like jumping like.
Ah, I see what you mean. So he curls up like a length of rope and then straighten it.
Like his curled up, then he goes like that.
Yeah, nice.
A good catch.
He's great.
That'll definitely work. That'll be really good. So he's yeah, excellent.
So I was walking some guns on him because tonight we're having so I was thinking I could put like some machine guns on him.
You don't think
How's
he's
he gonna
leaving
hold
them?
them?
No,
He's got no
it
hands.
would be like on. It would be like on him.
built
And
in.
it would be like.
You could be animator.
I was gonna make him have
Good
a
set.
friendly
Good.
scientist who builds a
You
gun.
mentioned it. What do you mean you don't have the other one?
You think a lot like me, Jan. It's scary.
And all the sound effects as well.
Oh yeah. You've got to have
I
sound
have a
effects if
good
you're an animator.
I have a good like aneurysm like it goes in your brain and it's like you're very clever.
Imagination.
Yes, I forgot the
What's
word.
neither?
Animation. I got the spike from this guy in game.
I liked your with the Hulk thing.
Oh, yeah.
So I did his hands like big fists.
Yeah,
I thought,
sweet.
you know, in a dark alley, what would you see? Just this Hulk and then maybe a bit of spiky at the top.
Yeah, nice.
Physically, he's got that square top, but
Yeah, cool. Yeah, that's exactly it. And maybe like in dim light, so you can
Yeah,
just see his
cool.
eyes or something like
yeah,
that.
You should actually make Hulk.
He's winning the line.
Yeah,
That's what you
he's-
see.
So maybe it's like a thug waiting
Yeah.
behind a dumpster or
That's
something
what I was
like that.
thinking.
Yeah,
It's
cool.
one of those wide types.
I want to be like just like you can create your own characters.
Yeah,
Because I'm actually thinking Hulk plus Spike equals the Hulk plus Spike, like he has spikes on his back.
Well, have you seen The Abomination? The Abomination's one of the Hulk's enemies. He's basically the Hulk with spikes.
Oh, I think you mean like he has like spikes on his head at the back of his head and like his own cookery like in it.
Yeah, that's Abomination.
There you go.
I think I know what you mean. No, it's like he has the same body except spikes on his back. Probably no underwear or something. Like, does he
I don't know. Tell me.
Does he have underwear?
He might be a bit embarrassed without it.
I don't know.
So he
You
would
can't
probably
be a very
have that
scary
way.
guy without underwear. He's like, oh.
Like spikes and then spikes at the back of his arm or something.
How did we get to this subject?
I know.
I know what to add
We're
right
talking
now.
about my bad guy. So
Yeah.
that's what we'd seen.
Please give him underwear.
Yeah.
Wait, so I know what to add right now.
That's it.
Should I
Done.
add his
Done.
friend
Yeah.
scientist?
It's murmuring.
And make
Yeah.
this guy like a stick
Yeah.
man.
I don't know.
Yeah.
How about the leg?
No, it looks cool. I think that kind of pose though, like he's using his entire body to reel
Yeah.
back the hammer. I think he needs a really big hammer.
How big is it?
Like as big as you want to make it. Like just make it like stupidly huge.
You could have it even like down here because it's almost like, you know how
Yeah.
that goes back?
Yeah. Like you've got the whole handle that goes all
Yeah.
the way down the back.
You mean like this big? Oh my gosh.
I might have gone overboard.
It's like, oh, I will control this hammer.
What will
You
really
know what
help
that
you with
looks
that is try drawing maybe a smaller view but from the side to see where the hammer
See them
is.
waving in the wind. And they can
What do you say
start
the
to-
So if you draw,
They're cool.
so just like really small.
Do you know how to
I actually kind of want to have one leg going forward. That's really help you to do. And then he's got his arm coming back this way.
Why it's there, that's why
Forward. And so your line of action is
Strike someone. Would you have it that way or would you have it
his arm's coming back here,
I don't know.
his hands here, and then yeah. That makes sense?
Yeah.
Yeah. So he'd be holding something probably that big as well. And you can make it like just ridiculously big as well if you want. The bigger you make it, the more you can like exaggerate this like really big arc.
Alright.
It might even be easier for you to just draw a side view because a lot of this is dealing with like foreshortening.
Oh yeah.
So if you draw it from a side view, you get this like really big, like nice line of action, and you're gonna get this feeling of the hammer just going around like this, and then
That's
just
a good idea.
maybe smashing someone in the head or something.
Yeah. It's hard to draw.
Yeah.
From
Yeah.
here.
So, yeah. Good. That's another thing to actually think of is when you're drawing your pose is think about like the pose, but also think about the angle that you draw your pose from, and if it's going to have like it's going to show you your line of action best. So so like let's just say I'm just going to copy Siska's drawing. So she's got like this character, and he's just bringing back this like really huge hammer, and he's about to swing it and like hit something. So while this does have some lines of action in it, it doesn't really give you a sense of the force of like reeling back this big weight and then like bringing it forward. Whereas if you draw it from a side view, can everyone see this, right? So, drawing from a side view, you've got this like really long line of action here that tells you everything about the path that this hammer is going to take. So thinking about what point of view you want to draw it from can be really helpful with showing you your line of action.
Well, when I first going to get several shapes, I was actually not like the penguin. I made the scientist do.
You've got a scientist do?
Yeah. Well, he does have a robot head.
A scientist do with the robot hand.
Of
course.
I don't want to do that.
What you can do, just do it, draw it again, but smaller. And I want you to have the scientist dude. So the scientist dude is controlling your snake. Is that right?
No, he's not controlling it. It's like
And even the
But it looks like he's riding the snake. Is that right?
no, so there's
He's not riding the snake. Definitely looks like he's riding the snake.
Hey Nick.
no, because
Hang on,
like
I'll be with you in a sec. Someone.
it's far away in the distance.
In the distance.
And then that's him. It's like right now he's like turning. Like it's like right above it.
Yep.
It's actually following the distance where it feels like
In the
the
background.
snake's here and his wire down there, but it's like it would be like that over there, but this way it would probably be like.
Yeah. I understand what you mean, Gian. But can we have just for this class, just say for the sake of this class, make him riding the snake? No. So the reason I want you to have him riding the snake is then you can have a line of action on him as well. So you've got your coiled up snake dude. Just coming over here and you've got the head. Now let's just say you've got the scientist dude. So what happens, just imagine that you're on like a really fast moving train and you're standing on top of it, right? What do you think would happen? What would it feel like? Do you want to stand up and show me? Yeah, so why would you be doing that?
Well, I I was going to use I was going to actually rub out one and put him on it.
Yeah.
When you were talking about like sometimes like rub out one of the spikes.
I just want you to see if you can try this. Because it will help you with, you'll be able to add this onto your drawing. So do you want to just stand up again for a sec? It'll just take a sec, right? Alright, so you just got a dude and he's standing on top of a fast moving train. He's got like air coming at him, like really fast. Because he's going really, really quickly forward. Have you ever put your head out the window? When driving one? No, never. Okay. Riding your bike, you feel the wind on your face and it's, yeah? So you've got, just imagine you're on top of a fast moving train, you've got all of this air coming at you, you're like pulling you back, like pulling you off the train. So in order to be able to overcome that, yeah, you'd be like, ah. So that you don't get blown off the train, you'd be like leaning forward. So you're pushing all your weight forward, so you're against all of the wind coming at you. Does that make sense? So, let's just say, you want to sit down again? So what you'd have is you'd have your character, your scientist dude, and his line of action would be like be bending forward into the wind. So that's his legs and his head. He's bending towards, and all the wind is going this way at him, and he's bending. Do you want to give that a go?
Well, instead of making him like standing up and like leaning forward, you can just be leaning backwards because like one of these could like be his pillow, like his chair. So he could be sitting.
That could be his chair.
Yeah, like say he sits on it and
Okay, but if he's got a chair, like what's he holding on to? What's holding him in?
like I'm gonna rub off and then I'm going to put like a little chain here.
Okay. So if he's holding onto the chain, does that mean would he be leaning forward into the wind or getting kind of dragged behind?
Probably drag behind.
So it would be, so you've got like the spike that he's holding onto here, and you've got him here. So he's so it'd be leaning back like that, and that's the chain. Does that make?
Yeah, probably.
You'd be doing something like that?
Well,
Okay.
not really a chain, it would just be like a window.
Yeah. Just something he's holding onto. Okay, cool.
I'm having trouble with the muscles here. Because like the scenario for the documentary is someone's like sat on the sand, right, and it's real good, like very angry. So he's like tensing up. The main line of action here is kind of like how he's flexing, yeah, with his arms.
Yeah.
And I'm really trying to like draw some muscles, but I'm struggling with that. And it kind
Okay.
of looks like he just has bubbly arms. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Let's see. So, I'm not too concerned about whether you get the muscles on
Yeah.
right or not. I like you've got the line of action in there, and you've got the second line of action in. So, yeah, I think like I'm happy with what you've already done here. I don't think you really need to kind of bend or add muscles in because the way he's constructed doesn't seem like normal human muscles
Yeah.
work.
Yeah. True.
So it seems more like Dr. Octopus sort of limbs would
Yeah.
probably work better. So what you can do is I think you can call that done and just have a think about some other different poses. Maybe make them a little bit smaller.
And then just draw another one.
Just draw like 5 more other poses. And just think, when you're drawing them, think about how like Dr. Octopus moves.
Yeah. Okay.
just explore his sort of range of movement and yeah.
Okay, I have an idea. Thank you.
No worries. Okay, you're going Chloe. Don't know how to draw one? Sit on my stool again. What are you drawing, mate? A what? A demon. What kind of demon? A little demon. What kind of personality does little demon have? Is it a little helpful demon, or is it a little demon who goes around and will kick you in the shins? Helpful. Okay. So what sort of shape do you think that your little demon will have? You don't know? Just think, okay. One thing you can think about when you're designing characters is like think about an animal and turning that animal into what character you want. So just imagine, say, a penguin demon. Because penguins are small.
Pigeon demon.
Or a pigeon demon.
Pigeon. Chloe
Pig
draw a mouse
demon.
demon.
Pig.
A mouse
Oh,
demon?
Mum.
What about a pig?
So you just start with an animal and then make it into a demon. Try a small animal. Yeah?
Yeah.
Giving you some ideas? Go for it.
I have no clue what to do, like how to do the body.
Okay.
Like I'm stuck. Yeah, while you were talking, I kind of did that.
Yeah, that's cool. So he's kind of, he's got like the half aged side and the half intact side. So let's just come up with like a scenario for him. Let's just say he's met his twin brother who he doesn't like.
I was thinking kind of like he has his leg kind of like that while he's in the air. He's like holding a sphere that he's creating
Okay.
with magic. I don't know. But
So you want to give him, say, a pose that makes him look like he's conjuring magic.
yeah.
So let's just think about how different ways of like how we could sort of manifest magic. So it's like a magical pose kind of thing, like Naruto sort of thing.
Yeah, kind of.
Because if that's the case and you've got like a magical pose, then it would be something that you wouldn't do every day, because then everyone would be summoning magic.
Yeah.
So like if, the magical pose was leaning against the wall,
Maybe
then,
just his hands in his pockets.
yeah, hands in his pockets. Think of something really, really specific. Like in Naruto, they have got like the kind of signals and stuff like that. Think of something like that. Like maybe like a really weird kind of, but see if you can get like those long kind of lines and keep them in. So if you have like, you've got a character and he's got, say, like one leg behind the other, and then that's sort of locked over and that's sort of the foot's pointing down, and then maybe you've got on the other side, say, his arms behind his back and this one is, say, in front of him. You're still keeping like long line there, and then you've got like a long line there.
Can I just do that?
I want you to see if you can come up with your own. This is just an example.
I'm just kidding.
So that's just an example. I want you to see if, alright, I want you to do something like this, but he's sitting. I want you to use these examples, but he's sitting down.
I don't know how to make him sit.
What are different ways of sitting? Come on, just think about it for a second.
Maybe you can draw him like
I'd rather do
Holding
it
magic. Holding dark magic and light magic. How about that?
But like his character, he's constantly playing with his magic. Like he's constant.
Yeah.
Have you seen those animes where like you see a character and they're just like shooting back magic between it?
Yeah.
Like he's constantly doing that because he fidgets a lot and he can't keep his mind
What's his head?
like
Like still.
no. Like he can't be not doing something, otherwise he's gonna go insane.
Okay, then draw that. Try.
Try your best. If you
Put some
try
lines
it,
down on the paper. Try. Smarty pants. You just told me what your character pose is. Now you just have to draw it.
so
Yes,
this
you do.
You see
Stand
how I
up
did
and
this?
stand up and act it out, and then come down.
Thanks. Oh, thanks.
So he's standing up.
You see how I did this?
Someone? So he's standing up. He's just like, is he got weight on one leg and off the other, or is it on both?
He's got weight on one leg and then off the other.
Because it's like more casual sort of thing.
Yeah.
And then he's got like maybe he's tossing it back and forth. Is he concentrating on what he's doing?
Yeah, he is. Because
He has to focus on like that.
if he's like, I don't know how to explain it.
Because you've got like okay, if it's a difficult task and he's like tossing magic between both hands.
It's not difficult because like he does it all the time.
Yeah. Okay. So if it's not difficult, if he did have to focus though on tossing it, he'd be concentrated. His eyes would be like following it. But if it's not, he could be like looking away,
I was
looking at the
thinking about
ceiling.
him looking to the
He's
side while
looking
he's looking at him.
There's your pose. Draw that.
He's not.
Standing on one leg, the other one's like relaxed and bent.
But like I don't know how to do the body. Like, well, like
Never mind.
Just give it a go. I'm gonna let you give it a go.
Not a single dot dot.
Yeah, go for it. Do heaps more.
Because that's what I meant.
Yeah, cool. So it's got that actually. Did you ever watch Powerpuff Girls?
I don't watch it 'cause I'm not a fan of that type of things.
Okay.
Because I'm a fan of those creepy
Creepy, yeah.
kind of 9 to 12 shows.
Yeah, it's just I was looking at it. It reminded me of one of those sorts of characters. 'Cause they don't have like fingers or toes.
Well, she does. I'm not good at drawing them. I just did paws.
Yeah. So yeah, just see if you can come up with a bunch of other poses. So can you tell me what your line of action is for this pose?
So I'm still watching other people.
Your line of action
Yeah, that's what it is. Kind of basically.
is what, sorry?
That's what it is. Kind of basically the line. Wait, what do you mean by the line of action?
So it's the long line that's on what's on the
Kind of like that and then that and that.
You can do an even bigger line. Can I just grab your pencil for a second? So the bigger line for me is you got the head there and then the body there. Is more like because her legs are crossed.
That's your goal.
So those would be your long lines. Generally, if someone's standing on, can you like go up and stand on like just one leg?
One leg.
Like just have all of your weight on one leg. Is that's what she's doing? That's what she's doing.
Yeah.
Oh, she's got her legs crossed, but she's leaning back against the wall. Is that right?
Yes, that's what she.
So just watch me do it. So legs crossed against the back wall,
Yeah, like that.
like that. So see how I've got one leg is straight, and the other leg is just bent over that.
Yeah, like that's kind of optional. This is like just blob of jelly.
Yeah. So this leg's carrying all of the weight, and this leg is completely relaxed. There's nothing. So your long line would be the one that goes straight down, because that's down to your supporting leg, and then your other line would be your other leg snaking around the front. Yeah. Do you want to give that a go? And then after you've done that, I want you to see if you can do the side view of that same pose. It will help you with the front view. It'll be even easier. You can do it, Amelia. I believe in you. Give it a go. Come on.
I feel like doing another one is like doing other characters doing different sides, minor action poses.
Yeah. You can do that if you want. I'm just giving you suggestions. I think that doing it this way will be more helpful. Is that sun bothering?
Just a bit bad, but I hope
Just bring the light down.
Can you try to draw a painting?
Is the sun bothering anyone else? No?
because they are
Nice. It's got a nice big creek out.
Yes, tiny and start to dance.
And then he's starting to dance.
Yes.
He just throws the pick away and he's just
Yes, just throw it and start to dance.
What is that?
looks like it's like the famous dancer. Flatland? What's it? At the end. The Irish one, yeah. Yeah, river dances. So it's like
Oh,
Well,
Tai Chi
no.
master. That's a Tai Chi master.
Oh,
Or
yeah,
even
dances.
the end of the episode of The Simpsons where they're in the steel mill, the gay steel mill, and then they're like the ball comes down at the end and they all start dancing and that kind of stuff. So he's kind of like that. He's just like the final bell rings for the end of the day. He just throws his pick away and then he just breaks into dance.
Oh my god, that would be so funny if there was a show of that and I saw I would be cracking myself up.
Thank you. Oops, that's not really good job and yeah, face the camera.
Are we allowed pictures?
Yeah.
Yay.
It's okay. I didn't pay attention.
But that's good.
Was it 40 minutes? Close?
I stopped one. How do I?
Yeah, just